indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Director Valentine? Here. Director Coleman?
Here.
Director Morgan's here. Director Allred?
Here.
Director Barney?
Here.
All accounted for. One remote. Okay, item C is approval of agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda. Seconded.
Okay, motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call vote at 5. Okay, even with 4.
Yeah. Because
Okay. Right. Roll call vote for approval of the agenda. Director Valentine.
Aye.
Director Coleman.
Aye.
Director Allred.
Aye.
Director Barney.
Aye.
Director Morgan is aye. Unanimous passes. Item 2, community announcements. Public comments and things not on the agenda. The floor is open to you all. So if anyone's online, they wish to speak on something not on the agenda, public comments, this is a good opportunity. Okay, so item 2 is complete. Item 3 is the consent agenda.
A motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through D.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Director Valentine,
Aye.
Director Coleman,
Aye.
Director Allred,
Aye.
Director Barney,
Aye.
and Director Morgan. Aye. Unanimously passes item 3, consent agenda. Next one, we have no action items under 4, so we move on to reports. Director of Administration.
Good afternoon. These are the financials for month ending July 31st. Bank balance decreased $373,000 just with finishing up some of the projects in the month of June as we wrapped up the year. First month into the new year, operating revenue, we're at 7%. Operating expenses, we're at 7%. Fuel sales were 81,000 gallons. For the AR, American Verde, we have sent them off to collection. We worked with HP Sears, so we'll be writing that off of our AR aging at this point. High Desert Wireless is continuing to send $100 payments, so we're working with them. They still have $500, so we're not going to send them to collection since they are still working with us. Dragon Aviation, we have issued their pay or quit. It has been posted, so they have until September 23rd to pay their balance due on their account. Build a Plane, they have went over 90 days, so we are going to move forward with their pay or quit if we have not received a payment from them by the end of next week. So I'll have more to report on them if we have not received anything from them. They are in building 140, which is over off of Roebuck.
Okay, you read my eyebrows. I was gonna
Yes,
ask.
I can
don't
see what
know.
building, yep.
Like
yeah.
Build a Plane, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't recall that being on the radar before.
Yeah, they're always usually right under the 90 days, so they are continuing always. They're usually at the 60-day mark, so it was a matter of time till they went to the over. Lynn actually just talked with them. They went out of business about a year ago, so we are going to move forward with the
Can they stay in the airport?
Yeah, they have not been operational. They actually bought all of the items from Export and moved everything over into this vacant building. So we'll be working with them to see what they're going to do with their items in the building. Fitness Center has 723 members.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Gone up a lot.
Yep.
Paying?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We are on the other side right now. So that is the revenue. Yeah. They're not paying. We are actually, what we're going to do with them is working with the fitness center that we'll be looking into purchasing some additional equipment to replace some of the old equipment. Now that it's been open for a while, we need to start to replace some of the equipment that's been, now it's been utilized. So
Yeah.
I'll be working with the management over there to try to put some of the revenue to work with.
one vote for something that somebody with small shoulders can actually do pull-ups on without destroying the rotator cuffs.
Okay, all right, I'll make note of that. I think that was one of the items actually that we were talking about.
Yeah, the only thing I have is like this wide. I'm like, that's no.
Yeah,
This
a little
wide.
narrow.
That won't work.
Okay. All right, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Director of Operations is absent.
I just-
Urgent call.
Got a photo from her. There's dogs on the runway. So yeah, she
Okay, so maybe we can rearrange
Ops
that.
vehicle.
So we'll move on to CEO updates.
Well, good afternoon, members of the board. Calling in from Gaylord Health Hill in beautiful Washington, D.C., where we're at the Airspace and Cyberspace Conference. We've had great inroads over here in establishing potential new business contacts for Mojave Air and Spaceport. In all candor, though, we have very poor connectivity out here, and it's a noisy environment. So as far as specific items, save one I'd like to briefly talk about, I'd like to defer the CEO report to we can be face-to-face in a couple weeks. If there are any specific questions on the line by line, I'll be happy to address. The one area I did want to mention is I had come up with some guiding pillars that I wanted to utilize as a framework for us. By intent for internal processes, especially talking about procedural exactness, runs the risk of being misunderstood by our mission partners and our customers. So I'm reframing where I want to go with this with an era focused around, and this is a work in progress, please, a safe, agile, compliant, competitive, and welcoming place, and make Mojave really back to its heyday of permission granted. Subject to your questions, if that's acceptable to the board, I'd like to defer the other items. Over.
Okay.
Yeah, unless there's something really urgent, but
Any questions or anything specific?
No,
We
maybe
don't
other
wanna wait?
two, when he's here, just to reemphasize that again, so maybe some people that didn't hear it, just, we want to get it out there that, permission granted. I mean, that's our goal.
Okay. Okay, then at this time, I'd like Director of Operations to give her report, please.
Dog on the run.
Good afternoon, members of the board. So operations counts for the month of August, Mojave saw 1,778 operations during towered hours. That was up from 1,564 operations in August of 2023. Largest difference was military aircraft at 272 operations, up from 89. I did go back and check the dates and some of the movements. Oops, sorry. And only 64 of those movements were attributed to the large military exercise we had at the beginning of the month. Not all of those military movements were participants of the exercise. We did have some Navy and Marine movements in there.
Hang on.
We have been seeing an upward trend of military operations here at Mojave, mostly fueling operations for transient military aircraft. Some updates. We did have the Runway Safety Action Team meeting on August 28th. It did go very well. We had a decent turnout and some really good conversations. We're anticipating a report from the FAA in October with new action items. Some of the action items that we're anticipating is adding more information to our sectionals and supplemental charts, more specifically for the rocket testing area operations. Just a little note on there. So if we have any pilots flying through, which are unfamiliar with the Mojave airspace, that we do have rocket testing operations on the north side of our airfields. And we also discussed potential departure and approach plans for runway 12 and 30. Sorry, said that backwards. Departure for 30, approach for runway 12 to help navigate pilots away from the testing area in the event that we're in hazardous operations and just provide a safer pattern for those aircraft. Last thing I had, I did speak at the Airport Operations and Technology Symposium on August 20th regarding hydrogen fueling and some of our experiences in Mojave with our hydrogen aircraft and anticipated challenges that commercial service airports may see in the integration of hydrogen technologies into their fleets. So it was really good. I was very grateful to meet up with some old friends from when I used to do the, I said convention, but conference hopping back in my days at my last job. So it was really awesome to be able to tag up and rekindle some of those connections. That's all I have.
Question, if we're going to be updating the chart supplements or AFD, some feedback I've gotten from some customers has included that they found it really frustrating when they were new here and they didn't realize where the self-serve fuel was. I know it's obvious to us, but it isn't necessarily obvious to transients. That and throwing it out there, if it's worthwhile, some verbiage on why we have red lines in certain areas of the ramp, because it is kind of weird to have a GA airport, especially with tower that's not open more often, have areas where we really don't want people wandering. And so folks who show up and just want to go explore, which is normal at a lot of airports, why that doesn't really work here.
Absolutely. And we do have some other verbiage on the airport facility directory that we've been looking at. So we will look to add in those self-serve and the red lines as well. Thanks. All right, thank you so much, sir.
Comment, just to clarify for those maybe unfamiliar with kind of operations testing we do here, the rocket testing, we're not doing, these are ground-based rocket engine firings, right?
For the majority
Typically,
of our
When you
operations,
talk
there
about
are.
on the north side of the field, they're rocket engine test sites. We're not launching rockets on the north side of the field.
We do have one unmanned vehicle, Astrobotic, that does operations on the north side of the field, but the rest is propulsion testing.
Right. I mean, the concern is if there was a explosion or something, there's a proximity thing. It's not because there's not airspace being closed because of firings.
Correct. It's
Yeah, okay.
proximity. It's just to not have accidentally put a Cessna in way
I
of.
just wanted to clarify for the public in case someone's thinking, that there's, you said rocket testing and it could be misconstrued as someone overflying thinking there's, why isn't there a NOTAM or something?
I see.
In
Yes.
an airspace conflict. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
And I also do have that video, if you guys are ready to show the video, the current ADC video. It's about a 5-minute video. It was on the CEO report.
Sure.
Welcome back to Businesses Boundless in Kern County. I'm Richard Chapman, President and CEO of the Kern Economic Development Corporation, and with me today is Dr. David G. Smith, CEO at the Mojave Air and Spaceport at Rotan Field. Well, thank you, David, for joining us, and really excited to have you on the show. You're new at the helm, but have an amazing background experience. So tell us more about yourself.
Well, Richard, what an absolute honor to be with you here today and share a little about Mojave Air and Spaceport. It is an exciting place. So I am much less significant than the nature and mission of the story. My background is I came from the United States Air Force. I flew B-52s for a real long time. Had the opportunity to come to this community in the flight test world at Edwards Air Force Base and actually took my flight test courses at National Test Pilot School at Mojave. Did that B-52 mission at Edwards for a long time. Retired from active duty, accepted a guard commission, and then I went off to civil service and served as the installation director at Edwards and then the director of the very unique production and flight test facility at Plant 42. And leaving government service, I had the very rare and remarkable opportunity to come up to Mojave. But what I did want to mention, why I said the system is more important than me as a person, is if you look at the history of aviation, Kitty Hawk is interesting, but insignificant. It just doesn't matter. Where Southern California comes to play is that's where aviation grew. That's where the greats like Boeing and McDonnell and Douglas came in and developed the air power that won the Second World War and continued through to today. So if you look at the history of air power, it's Southern California. It's not Kitty Hawk. And I'm very, very proud to be a part of that at Mojave.
Well, as a North Carolina native, I will yield to you on that statement. And yeah, the Mojave Air and Spaceport is an incubator. It's world renowned for being a premier test facility. From what we see, $400 to $500 million economic impact, 100 companies. So give us a little bit more tell us about the companies that are based at the port.
Well, the companies are very, very diverse, and it's an interesting environment because on one side, you've got the magic and mystery and history of general aviation. You know, people who just want to push their own tin through the sky and explore and take advantage of the freedom of the airways in the United States. And that's really the roots of commerce, which is so important to your mission. It's a commerce-based mission. Yes. On the other side of the plant, Stratolaunch, the biggest airplane in the world, Scaled Composites developing new technologies every day. Northrop Grumman has a large stake out there. I made reference to them before, but National Test Pilot School, training pilots from literally every corner of the globe in disciplined flight test technique and flight test engineering principles. And that all changes the entire horizon of airspace. We're growing it from the commercial, private side, not the government Air Force side. And please, I don't diminish that. I spent a lot of years at Edwards, and I love that mission. Mojave is a growth place, and I will tell you, there's room to move there.
So, Dave, we're number 4 STEM-based economy in the country, and I know that's a passion for you, STEM education for the future of the workforce. So give me your thoughts on programs and initiatives that you're supportive of.
It's huge. We're working with the Kern County schools, and we'll provide facilities for them for their upcoming outreach day, so the youth of this community can come out and get face-to-face with industry and what work might look for them tomorrow. Very excited about that. I'm a strong supporter and was involved in the early employment of Starbase at Edwards, a fabulous program that takes 5th graders out of their classroom for 5 days and deep dives them into STEM. And the dividends are gigantic. Richard, if we make a difference in the youth of our community, my entire enterprise grows at Mojave, because tomorrow's workforce is walking around in 5th grade classrooms today.
Yeah, our foundation is the co-host for the Kern High School District on the Career and STEM Expo. So we're really proud to host that and show the students what opportunities lie ahead, especially in Kern County. So thank you for all you've done to make that come to fruition. So where can we go to find out more information, David, about the amazing first taking place in your neck of the woods?
So there's exciting stuff out there. I encourage you go to the Mojave website for Mojave Air and Spaceport, and just pop on in there and explore it. It's a remarkable facility with remarkable capabilities. And I will tell you, you know, right here at Mojave, what I like to say, and I steal the quote from Stu Witt, one of my predecessors, is permissions granted.
Well, thank you for joining us today. And remember, business is truly boundless in Kern County.
Thanks for setting up that video.
Yep, David asked me to share it in front of the city.
Yeah, thanks for that. I love the shocking statement about Kitty Hawk isn't significant today, followed by why we're more important. No, very, very well spoken. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Smith. So we're going to move on to agenda item 6, director comments. Items not on the agenda.
Yep, I've got one. So this is really for Lynn. I'm sorry I neglected to hit you up soon enough, but if I may politely request for our next meeting, I'm going to do it publicly just so I don't forget again. Can we discuss our fuel policy, specifically the one that has to do with, like, I think per the letter of our policy, we can't even bring a 5-gallon, can of under low lead and keep it in a hangar. If we could have a discussion on if that policy is what we do want, if it does make sense in the context of the FAA's guidance, et cetera, et cetera.
We are working on that as you requested.
I had no idea.
We are.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay, any other director comments? Okay, so we'll now move into closed session, item 7. Those of you online, if you wish to stay, there'll be a report afterwards, summary. Otherwise, thank you for attending.
Oh,
Oh, do both of you have to sign? Where do you want me, top or bottom?
So board, for your information, Nicole has walked away, so she is not here. Do you prefer I stay?
Do we prefer you stay?
So do you want to do the performance evaluation like this, or do you want to push it back to next week? Or next meeting?
I mean, yeah, I mean, if Dr. Smith thinks he has adequate privacy there, then